Right, the policy and decision-making part of the agenda, 4.1, is consideration of the Turangi-Tongariro Community Board request for unbudgeted expenditure. Who do we have talking to this? Anyone in particular? Rayleen's authorised by Tina. Councillor Mack.
Yep. So what we've obviously tried to do is, with the mall over the years, we've obviously tried various things and spent an awful lot of money not really getting very far. So what we've done or tried to do is, like they've done in Taupo with a lot of the empty shops, we've looked at putting some window wraps onto the empty shops for the summer season. Obviously with Turangi, the main shop as you go into town is empty and looks absolutely awful. So the idea was that we had some really nice scenes that a local photographer's taken, and we were going to get them put onto the empty stores within the mall. It will cost around about the 7,000 plus just, but we feel that that will, at least for the tourists and the locals, give us a good looking mall, or as good as it can be for the summer season.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Mack. I think Tina's Lisa's the officer involved here.
Thank you.
Any comments, Lisa?
Just that it should be noted that we may not need the full amount of expenditure. We've done some further investigation in between the board requesting this amount of money and now, and some of the shops look as though they may be tenanted between now and Christmas. But the approval is for the 4 window wraps.
Cool. If I could ask, Lisa or John perhaps might know, are the decals, are they reusable like the Taupo Town Centre ones? Do you know?
So yes, they are. The difficulty, however, will be that the different shops have different window sizes.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you. Questions, councillors? Councillor Westwood?
I suppose it's just subject to owner approval, because some of them will have to lease signs up.
Yep, we've actually been to all of the ones, and I believe the ones we're putting them on have agreed. Yep. Okay,
cool. Any other questions? Councillor Taylor.
It's a perfectly reasonable amount and suggestion, and it's consistent with Taupo. I'm happy to move.
Thank you very much. Okay, very good. No further discussion. It's been moved by Councillor Taylor, seconded by Councillor Park. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you, Councillor Mack and Lisa. All right, 4.2, adoption of the annual plan. We have Mr. Alan Menhant. Good afternoon, Alan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors. I'd like to say that we could adopt the annual report today, but we can't. Legally, we can only approve up to such stage as we get a final audit report. We've been working closely with audit for a period of time now, and my suggestion is that if we leave this to the December meeting before adoption, we can have the final design version to adopt. But in the meantime, I think it's of value that Audit New Zealand is here, Leon and Katriana, and I'm sure that they'll be able to bring you up to speed with what the audit process has led to and the challenges that Audit New Zealand have been facing right across the country.
Cool. Okay, thank you, Alan, and welcome, Leon and Katarina. Lovely to have you here this afternoon, and Alan's, I think, led us into perhaps an explanation, should we call it, from you guys. So good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship, Councillors. Thank you also for giving us the opportunity to be here. I think I've said it a few times this year already, but this is probably the worst life or the worst year I've had in my whole professional career. I've never seen something like this. And the impact of COVID was not only on businesses, not only on annual reports, it was on audit reports as well. And we would have been in a position to sign your audit report a month ago without problem. This year, it's just not possible. The reason for that is that we're looking at a qualification, as I mentioned at the Audit and Risk Committee meeting last time. That has to go through, and that's only on the service performance measures, not on the financial statements. That will still be a clean opinion, but that process is going to has taken a long time. I've got it lined up for 30 November, but one thing I've learned this year is don't promise any dates. But I promise you I'm trying to keep my best to that date.
Okay, thanks very much, Leon. Katarina, have you got anything to add to that? No? In agreement with Leon, so that's cool. You might have a couple of questions if that's okay. Leon?
Of course.
Questions, councillors? Councillor Park?
Yes, and thank you for being here today. Just curious, apart from obviously with COVID time,
Yep.
is there anything else in particular that has delayed the process?
No, I wouldn't say so. No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Leon and Katarina. So the suggestion is, Alan, leave this on the table until we can adopt it once we get the 30th of November. Leon has promised, even though you don't promise. So we will achieve that in December then. Correct. Yeah. So we'll let that lie on the table. Just add that and carry it over. I'll let that lie on the table. Okay, cool. Can I have a mover for that, please? Thanks, Councillor Guy, and seconded by Councillor Body. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you very much. Thanks,
Thank you,
Leon,
Richard.
Katarina, and Alan. Okay, 4.3, Mangakino Sports Ground Facility Refurbishment Tender. And we have before us this afternoon Mr. Travis Delich, who's the project management advisor on this particular project. Good afternoon, Travis.
Afternoon, councillors. Afternoon, Mayor. I'll take the report as read. Essentially, it is a request to approve a contract to Wade's Construction to complete refurbishment of the Mangakino Rugby Club.
Cool. Okay, thanks very much, Travis. Pretty well explained there. Do I have any questions regarding this particular tender? Right, Councillor Park?
Travis, out of interest, I'm not sure if you're on the procurement team. The variation from is like 200,000 between Wade Construction and the top tender price. Was it around Mangakino being the distance, or was it around shortage of building materials, or why do you think there was such a big variation?
That did stand out. It's difficult to say because the way that they break down their tender, they don't break them down item by item, so it's not always clear to see which item they charged more and which item they may have charged less. But because of that concern, you may notice there's a slight difference. Oh, actually, let me step back a second. So the amount that's in this report is I think 515K. That needs to be changed. It's 546K now for that, which is still within budget. However, that is because due to the risks of a refurbishment as opposed to a new build and some of the differences in price, we did some further inspecting just to make sure there weren't any glaringly obvious things that were going to come back and bite us at a later date. And as a result of that work, we uncovered a few more things that we wanted to ensure that were included in the contract, so not to be stung with them at a later date. So, yeah, we were.
So wait on, is there a change to this tender price? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, apologies, and it just I couldn't get it in time for the to fit it into the report for your agenda deadline. None of the content of the report changes. It's just the price has increased slightly from the price that was listed in here, still within the budgeted expenditure.
Through the chair, I'd feel more comfortable because under financial considerations it says that the contingency is light, and like you say, with refurbs and you start opening up walls and things, it's better to be probably sure. So yeah, I'd happily move the amended recommendation.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, all right. So it's gone up from 515 to what? 546. And that, sorry, I need a bit of more an explanation. You went back to so you tendered that, the company tendered that price, and you've asked them to have another look at it, or?
So we got independent third-party person to come on, that is their experience, as well with the contractors themselves. There's currently a leak in the building, so we wanted to make sure that wasn't going to come back to bite us. But the bulk of that cost is in additional floor, replacing some additional tongue and groove flooring that we hadn't anticipated in the contract price, as well as some ceiling lining that wasn't included in there. So the benefit in doing this now is, and getting included in the contract now, is that and it would have come up at a later date, we would be charged cost plus variation charges.
So the contingency would have been used.
Yeah, the contingency would have been used. Now,
Right.
the contingency still is light for this project, but that's why we're taking all steps that we can to reduce our risk.
Okay, Councillor Leonard?
I don't think we've got all the information here, Mayor David, and I think this should be deferred to the next meeting until we have an opportunity to have a look at all the information.
Yeah, what the other councillors feel? Yeah, Councillor Body?
Very quickly, is this under the community facility set schedule? So is it a renewal?
It's
No.
no.
It's a capital project.
Okay, so is it under the community facilities?
Yeah, it's under, I think it originally, there's a couple of parts in the annual plan and the long-term plan. There was some bow wave carried over. It was originally under Mangakino open spaces, I think, and then there'd been some previous resolutions by council to increase the price as we've gone through the process. And just to confirm what Travis was indicating is that the contingency on this contract was quite low for to avoid the overruns or the additional prices that would potentially come in. Further investigation with the contractor was carried out at the premises in order to firm up the price and give us a better price that we can work on.
Yeah. Okay, Councillor Westman?
You know, I know there's a little bit of an increase from the tender, but this has sat on the table for a very, very long time, and I'm concerned that we'll miss our slot with any builders. At the moment, these guys were still the bottom end of the tender spectrum, and I think it's good that they've gone back just to tidy up those last couple of issues, but I just would be really sad if we miss an opportunity and we can't get this thing signed off today.
Councillor Taylor?
Yeah, I'm with Councillor Westman on that. My only question is, the increase in price, would that have affected any of the other tenderers?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Yeah. Thank you, Travis. You can just sort of see the, well, not confusion, but thank you for explaining that. And I appreciate Councillor Leonard's comments as well, because, but it has been around a long time, and a lot of us need to move. Supportive of moving on with this project for Mangakino. They've been out of commission for quite some time. We've burnt out club rooms, so it makes sense. But we just need to clarify that extra amount. So we've changed it. Is that the right figure there now?
The correct
546
figure is 546, 664, and 88 cents.
So when the contractor looked at the successful tenderer looked at the extra work, he knew he had the job by then, or he was the preferred tenderer?
He was the preferred tenderer. So when we received the tenders, one of the tenderer wasn't local, and their price was also the highest. So that was not considered. They were obviously they were aware that this process that has to happen to approve the tender. They've been very good working with us. Just because the nature of it being a refurbishment, we were very open with each other about ensuring that we sort of got the best outcome for everyone.
Yep. So we've still got a contingency figure of what amount?
No, the contingency figure is down. No, the contingency figure for the whole project is down to $7,934.
Right. Okay, because you've used quite a bit of. All right. Do I have a?
One moment, Chairman. Sorry, this is CapEx,
Yes.
and it states in the agenda paper 2021, but the annual plan doesn't state that. There's the open spaces under ILOC improved levels of service. So I'm just trying to work out where it fits in the capital spend.
So, through Mr. Chair, as Tina talked about, a lot of the costs have been bow waved, so it was into previous long-term or annual plans, which then got rolled over. So the amount's all there. It's all been within your what you've approved, either through your annual plan or through subsequent resolutions of this council. But yes, it is capital, and yes, it is budgeted.
All right. All right. Okay. Thank you, Travis. And it's been moved by Councillor Rankin. Do I have a seconder, please? Seconded by Councillor Westerman. We've got that figure right. And all those in favour, please say aye. Is against? Carried. Thank you. And Councillor Lynn, would you like that recorded? Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Travis. All right. 4.4. The grant of the easement to Unison 470 Lake Terrace. Taupo. Gemma. Good afternoon, Gemma.
Good afternoon, Your Worship, Councillors. If it's all right with you, I'd like to take this item as read. It is relatively straightforward, hopefully, in respect of an easement over a future local purpose reserve road that will then become road once it's formed and sealed. So it's a process that's required in terms of delegation from the Minister of Conservation to the easement being on.
Sorry, Jim, you might have just
Oh,
pulled that.
sorry.
But just for the live streamers, that's all.
No, I appreciate that. Sorry.
Yeah.
So yes, taking the report as read, it is an easement in respect of a Unison piece of infrastructure that will in the future be placed underground within the road once it's formed, and the easement will fall away at that time.
Okay, all right. Do we have any questions? Councillor Park.
So this is, we've discovered a lot with doing the CCTV through our pipes that different utility companies where they've rammed their infrastructure through ours. Do we have a better understanding, or how do we talk to them now about where our pipes are and where they can go?
I would say that's probably more of an infrastructure question in that context, but I would, from a design perspective, they usually talk about common services trenches that are built in new roads in particular, and they have a design within that which is a trench, and within that there's specific locations for all four, and they've become a lot more accurate now in recording that information, so things are GPSed. They know exactly what depth it's done to. They're supposed to provide as-built that are accurate, so you'd hope that the standards of installation have been improved to that extent.
Cool. Any other questions of Gemma? Councillor Westerman.
Just a little confused on, so over the gully there'll be an overhead line for a period of time until it's then relocated down onto the street. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the local purpose reserve that is shown there is in number 202 is for the future road, so it's legal, it's a piece of land at the minute, and it's going to be formed as a corridor. The overhead power line goes across the future road. At the minute they're doing the earthworks and everything else. The line will stay there until they actually install the alternate infrastructure within the road corridor. So when they physically form the road, it will go underground. Yeah.
And the cost of then relocating it is on whose head?
On the developing party, yeah, so that comes under the development process. So when they go through the redesign of physical subdivision, they work through that process with Unison to do
So
that.
why are we doing this now then, and just not waiting till then?
Because in order to get the titles through for the subdivision, we need to have Unison's consent to that, and Unison are not consenting to the fact that they have this infrastructure and an easement in place at the minute. The local purpose reserve status is not the same as the formed road. So under the legislation, they have the rights to put it within the road corridor, but they don't have the right under the local purpose reserve status under the Act. So Unison wants certainty over their infrastructure, which is in situ at the moment, and in order to get the subdivision across, we need their consent to do so. Is that?
And it was
Sorry,
it's just an interesting because I did understand that I wasn't sure if there was any iwi consultation over this, that there was a bit of an issue with what was planned here, and was that did we need consultation?
Sorry, no, this is an existing easement
Yep.
and a proposed road that's been through a consented subdivision process. So that was fully notified at that time, and the reality is once that road is formed, it will become legal road, and the easement falls away. So that was where it came back to the fact that it didn't, it wasn't considered necessary in this context.
Need consultations already. Okay. All right. Where is 470 Lake Terrace? Just remind me.
It's along the lakefront.
Yes.
So Ratou Estate
Yes.
is just after it. So it's before
Just
that.
after that. So into
it's
that new Caris.
EUL land, East Urban land. So it's TDC's land.
Right. Okay. Oh, so it's before Ratou.
Yes, it's the side of that. So.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Any other questions and queries? I'm sure Councillor Westman has some questions regarding easement later. You can always liaise with Gemma on that, because it is a, for the new councillors, easements are quite a little tricky one, where we don't have a lot of say on them. Well, with utility companies.
So this
Yeah.
easement was required under the subdivision consent that was granted, and
Yep.
as just the delegations there for that formalisation process. Yep.
Yep, cool. All right, any other questions of Gemma? No? Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Truman, seconded by Councillor Taylor. All those in favour, please say aye. It's against, carried. Thank you very much, Gemma. Item number 4.5 is Council's October performance report. Mr. CEO.
Your Worship, I'll keep it very brief, and then Alan will pick up from there in the team. But obviously, the big thing in front of us at the moment is the long-term plan process, and thank you very much to councillors for indulging us already for a few days on that, and many more to come this week. As you'll know and have picked up this week, it's going to be no easy task and quite a challenge to be able to balance the different needs and wants through that process, as it always is. But obviously with a goal of having a draft out March, April this year for public consultation. But as you will know, most of the hard work for us is this side of Christmas. So that's what's consuming most of us at the moment. And then the rest of it in the report I'll take as read, Your Worship, and just I guess note on the last paragraph of my report that obviously this is the last report for the year. We don't generally do one in the December council meeting. So just want to extend thanks to you and to my staff for the year that's been. It's obviously been a massive year, but a very interrupted year and a challenging one. So just want to put that for the record that I think we've done pretty amazing work under stressed times. And when I look around the country at other councils and the challenges they're going through, I'm pretty thankful that we're in the district we are with the governance and management team that we've got. So thank you to everybody involved.
Thank you too, Mr. CEO. All right, Alan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's quite a challenge this year on the basis of the zero rate increase. So I think everybody should be pretty happy that as at the end of October, we are ahead of plan and everything seems to be pretty much under control. And I'm talking right across council. You've got the 1.2 million favourable bottom line. One of the challenges we've got is in the capital expenditure area. You'll see that there is a significant amount of CapEx work still to occur. Part of that's the CIP program. The other parts are the bow wave and the capital program for this year, but we are focusing on trying to deliver as much as possible. If I look at the investment side of affairs, we've still got the OCR at 0.25%. You'll notice that the TEL fund at the end of October was returning just over 1%. Just as well, we have a portion of the fund in equities, because I checked on the portfolio this morning as at the close of business yesterday, and we were up 800,000 from the 31st of October, which in fact was giving us a yield of 4.8%. So if we didn't have our investment in equities, and we haven't gone overboard in that area, we would be pretty much driven by the term deposit rates in the marketplace. But just shows you the level of volatility that there is in the market, whether it's to do with the American elections or getting COVID under control. There's quite a variance, but just in the spate of less than a month, there's probably an increase of 10% just on the share portfolio. So that's pretty much where we are. But heading into, as Gareth said, a challenging LTP, it's pleasing to see that we aren't behind the 8 ball at this particular stage of the game.
Thanks, Alan. Any questions of Alan? No, well done. Thank you very much, Alan. Any particular shares that are winners at the moment?
I won't get to specifics.
No, I'll talk to you later. All right, democracy and planning.
Yes,
Thank you, Tina.
Mr. Chairman, just
Sorry,
just
Councillor
before you
Body.
do, this morning I made a comment that the investment paper on page 32 is in fact for the last month, not this month. It's to the end of September, all the other papers are to the end of October, so that needs to be noted.
Right. Okay, is that correct, or is that is it normally up to the end of October? Are we 1 month behind normally, or?
It should be to the end of October. The actual investment report you've got attached to this is to the end of October.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll follow through on that one.
It states, Mr. Chairman, that it's to the end of September, and I put it against end of September, it's exactly the same. But as Alan has rightfully pointed out, the next one down is correct.
Yep, cool. Well spotted, Councillor Body. Well done. Councillor, Tina Jakes.
Thank you, Your Worship. Really not much change in the democracy and planning area from last month, and the status of the projects hasn't changed, and the updates. I'm happy to take any questions in relation to those.
Thanks very much, Tina. Any questions on democracy and planning? No? Okay, community services. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Your Worship. Not really much to add. I think Gareth has captured it pretty well in his CEO's report. He quite rightly says it's been an incredibly challenging year, and particularly in my team's area, in the regulatory space, and continues to be so. So I'll take the report as read. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks very much, Brian. Any questions of Mr. Fox? No. Cool. Community facilities? Dylan.
Not much change from my report, Your Worship, taking it as well as read. Obviously there's a whole lot of things going on around the place from different facilities being worked through as part of their reports, but unless there's any further questions, ko pai tātou.
The private spa pools, they far away from?
They're having a gradual. Tina's probably the best to speak Tina. Specifically about that one. They're not ready for you, Your Worship.
No, that's right.
No.
It's my anniversary coming up, that's all. It's all I can afford.
So we have been having some issues with the moulds for the spa pools and working through that. So it is hopeful that we'll at least get one open before Christmas. That's the aim, but it's still dependent on delivery.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, Councillor Taylor?
So probably just a detail thing on page 42, you've got the Mototiri Recreation Reserve Management Plan, no capital budget, no further update. Does that need to sit here, or what's happening with that?
That's been recognised as a big issue item. The reserve management plan specifically has progressed as far as we can. We still need to have that recreation reserve management plan completed. The reason it's got no capital budget, it's not a CapEx program, it is an operational plan, which is just normal. That it's a statement that there's no capital budget attached.
Sorry, Dylan, do you mind? And starting again.
As I was saying, Your Worship, the Mototiri Recreation Reserve is a subject of conversation between the leaseholder and the Crown. Firstly, the second part of that conversation is that there is no capital budget attached to it. We have progressed it as far as we can, and the latest conversation was around some legal discussion from the leaseholder to us as the leaseor. And so that's currently where it sits, pending conversations with the legal team.
Thank you, Dylan, and thank you, Councillor Taylor. Any other questions of Dylan? All right, water. Who's doing that one today?
We actually haven't spoken about it, so we might tag team a bit. Kevin has an apology today, but I'm sure we can all sort of tag team through it. But I think the only difference there is the operating revenue is down slightly. The rest of it is as we spoke about last month.
Cool. Any questions? Transport.
Likewise, Your Worship, I'm seeing a lot of green there, so no major issues to report.
Wastewater.
So we do have a couple of oranges there. Obviously operating expenditure being down.
Yeah, through the chair, part of that's to do with the timing of the maintenance.
The maintenance, yeah.
Often those budgets are evenly spread throughout the year, but the actual work cycles are different.
Solid waste.
No issues there, Your Worship.
Stormwater.
Ditto, no issues there.
Good. Okay, thanks. I'm strong on having a break, I hope. Yep. Okay, cool. Thank you. Economic Development, Mr. John Ridd.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Oh, go on, Councillor Body.
I apologise, Mr. Chairman. Just going back
sorry,
to,
Councillor Body.
Just going back to our wastewater, and I noticed that last month under the Taupo water main southern trunk, blah blah, right at the bottom, it's got 850. The annual plan is 750. The total being 850 under capex. So it was there last month, and I didn't raise it at that stage. So is the Taupo water main southern trunk 850 or 750 as the budget shows, with 100 in the capex coming from the wastewater control gate bridge siphon?
So there you go. So through you, Your Worship, I think we're going to have to get that information and get it back through to you via email, Councillor.
Cool.
Yeah, I've nothing to add, Your Worship.
Nothing to add? Okay, thank you very much. What's next? That's it. Okay, no other questions of the CEO? All right. Thank you very much, senior managers and CEO, and appreciate your earlier comments, Gareth, your appreciation of the governance team, which and likewise is returned to you guys, because it's truly appreciated one of those years. So we have a recommendation up there that we contained in the note the information. Do I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Body, seconded by Councillor Guy. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Right, 4.6, council engagements for December. It's looking a little bit lighter. Tina, this is good.
Yes,
One more to add though.
Oh, okay.
So like Taupo Protection Trust meeting 7th of December at 12:30 in the council chambers.
12:30. Okay. Zoom, our Teams meeting, is it with Regional Council? Yeah, cool. Okay, anything else to add to those engagements? No? Everyone happy with those dates? I have a mover, please. Thank you, Councillor Williamson, seconded by Councillor Park. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Members' reports. 4.7. Councillor Williamson, have you?
I've got a list here. I'll just give them to Shaney.
Okay.
Several there, so if you want me to read them out.
No, that's all right. That's all right. You've given them to Shane. Okay. Councillor Park.
Just one thing, Your Worship. On Friday the 13th of November, John Ridd and I attended the 3rd International Friendship City Conference that was based in Shaoxing, China, by Zoom.
By Zoom.
And there are a number of countries a part of that conference, and I was really proud to be able to deliver a presentation on behalf of Taupo. There were 6 countries that spoke. There was Shaoxing for China, Japan, Hungary, Finland, Korea, and us. And it worked really well, I thought.
Yeah.
For 8:30 on a Friday evening. Thank you.
What time did it finish? Wow. Oh, thank you guys for doing that, because yeah. Okay. No karaoke, no gumbo, eh? All right, Councillor Taylor, Councillor Truman, Councillor Westman, Councillor Rankin, Councillor Mack.
So the Turangi-Tongariro Sports Hub is now back on track. We had a meeting and we are now moving down to the design. We've designed it, but it's now going out to actual, basically proper design now. So yeah, that's really good.
Great, thanks. Councillor Mack, Councillor Leonard.
Yeah, no, cool. Stephen Roach is doing it here. Yeah, he's been really good.
Very good. Councillor Leonard.
We had a positive Rural East Committee meeting at Rangataiki. Thank you to all of those that attended.
Great, thank you. Councillor Kingy, Councillor Guy.
Just attended the AGM for Waiora House, and also the first Waiora House meeting as an elected member. And met also with the new president from the Kinloch Community Association as my role as chair of the KRG, and last night attended a meeting regarding the continuation of the Kinloch kindergarten and the sustainability of that.
Cool. Thanks, Councillor Guy. Councillor Boddy. Great. Thanks very much, Councillor Boddy. All right. Very good. The only thing I I attended the rural and provincial meeting last week, and a few topics of conversation, but prior to that we had a good meeting with Contact Energy regarding their further development, which is looking very, very promising. So big changes in their industry. They've gone from 4 floors in Wellington to 1. A lot of the people have been relocated to Taupo and other various parts around New Zealand, so very very productive meeting, but hopefully that project, it's all hanging on the TY, as to what happens to TY in the South Island, as to what the start date of that project is. They're talking significant 750 odd million capital expenditure at Tauhara too. So that was good. So thank you very much, councillors. Thank you for your hard work and your attendance of these various meetings around the place. If you could just give yours forward, John, would be truly appreciated. Can I have someone move? Thank you. Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Mack. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried.